And on the international scene, new United Kingdom Prime Minister cancels plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda. Benue State Governor Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia has pledged the support of his administration to girl-child education in the state. The governor made the pledge Saturday at Federal Government Girls College, Buko, when he visited the school. Governor Alia, who was on his way to Vandikia, stopped at the school as a parent to visit the students on their visiting day. Addressing over 1,600 students of the school, Governor Alia encouraged them as future leaders to give priority to their education, not only to make their parents proud, but understand that it is the best gift they can give themselves. He expressed satisfaction with the relationship between the management, staff, and students, which he said will inspire the students to take up leadership positions, pledging assistance to the school to boost studies among the students. Meanwhile, Principal of Federal Government Girls College, Boko, Mrs. Edie Omaslim, who described the governor's visit as historic in the life of the school, praised his support to the education of the girl child, which he said has given many children the opportunity to excel in life. A student, Antonia Chukuma, on behalf of the students, thanked the governor for supporting their education, promising to improve their commitment to study hard in order not to let their parents and guardians down. Earlier, the governor donated 50 bags of rice and 8 cows for feeding the students. Well, in a significant move to uncover the remote causes of insecurity in Sankara area for solutions, the Benue State government has announced formation of a commission of inquiry. Governor Hyacinth Alia made this known at the Government House Makudi in a broadcast to the state on the state of security in Sankara area. Now, according to the governor, his decision followed unprovoked attacks in parts of the Benue Northeast, the recent being in the communities of Okum local government area that claimed lives and destroyed property. Our correspondent Emmanuel Aquila completes this report.
Unprovoked attacks by bandits have continued in Benue Northeast, also called Sankara, claiming lives and destroying property. The most recent is the attack on Ayati Sai along Sankara Road. The incident led to the start of protests, raising from anger and frustration from family members who lost loved ones in the killings. Governor of the state, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, after carrying out an on-the-spot assessment of the scenes of these devastating destructions, makes a state address.
The unprovoked and senseless killing of 6 innocent lives by bandits on Tuesday night has left us all in mourning. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the victims during this difficult time.
He acknowledges the genuine cries of aggrieved families, which he describes as unfortunate. He condemns the destruction of government property, businesses, and disruption of peace for the people of the area. The governor, who says peace and security remains the bedrock of development, assures that despite the challenges, his government will not leave any stone unturned in pursuit of a safe and prosperous Benue State. Governor Alia re-echoes the resolve of his administration to bring what he describes as retrogressive activities to a total end.
I assure you that I have listened. The mayhem caused by these heinous acts of violence has not gone unnoticed, and I stand with you in condemning these atrocities. Our administration is unwavering in its commitment to ensuring the safety and security of all residents in Benue State. We are intensifying our efforts in collaborating with the security agencies to bring the perpetrators of these violent and criminal acts to justice.
The governor continues that his administration has received positive results and is working on preventive measures to ensure such an incident does not reoccur now or in the future.
Let us not allow the actions of a few to destabilize us. We will not sit back and allow anyone or a group to frustrate the peace of the state and destabilize the government of Benue State.
The governor again extends a hand of fellowship to the youths, launching attacks on innocent citizens to embrace peace. Emmanuel Akula, Benuetv Vision News, Makudi. Unprovoked.
The non-governmental organization, the Julie Brahma Women and Children Initiative, JUASI, organized the JUASI Queen of Peace event to foster peaceful coexistence among communities in Benue State. The event, held on Friday at TESB Academy in Makudi, attracted students from various schools. Our correspondent Matthew Ikulono has this report.
Students from different schools in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, have gathered here at the invitation of Julie Brahma Women and Children Initiative, JUACHI. This non-governmental organization aims to instill the values of peace and harmony in young minds, adhering to the adage, catch them young. The program coordinator, Angela Daudu, and the head of publicity, Emmanuel Kuku, emphasized the event's objective to educate the youth on the behaviors necessary for maintaining a peaceful society. They urge parents to ensure the proper upbringing of their children.
The whole thing is, don't be a bully to a junior one just because you had opportunity to be ahead of them. Just like the Bible said, you should love your neighbor as yourself, because if you love your neighbor like you do to yourself, you wouldn't steal from the neighbor you have. You wouldn't do that which you wouldn't want it to be done to you. That is one. So secondly, I will advise that it's better we are relational, we are peaceful, we are living peaceful with our neighbors than taking on the path of violence.
If we thought it wise that we have to start from small. You start from these children. You need to put in them, you need to instill in them that peace. They should know that it's quite cool to have a very peaceful community and an environment at large. We need to take parenting very, very serious. We don't have to leave it all for the teachers alone. Because you are paying teachers, that's not a guarantee for you to have that laxity with your children. You need to check on them every time. You need to know what they are doing. You need to know what they are up to at any given moment.
Students from various schools advise their peers to avoid bad company, drug abuse, and bullying, advocating for good behavior among students in the state.
I learned that it's not good to bully students. Like, if you are given positions, you shouldn't use that opportunity and then bully students.
When you are in school and they are trying to bully you or do anything, don't follow them. Behave very nice, being nice to students.
I learned that it's not good as a senior to be bullying students like their junior ones, regardless of their position in the school. Like, it's not necessary that they must bully them to do what they want to do.
Bullying in school is not good, and seniors shouldn't bully students, because when we come to school, we are also brothers and sisters. We are learning together.
A highlight of the occasion was the presentation of a drama titled Bullying of Students, Peace Builds Unity.
Making noise in this party, Gerard, everybody, give me this stage. Start coming. Come on, don't waste my time. Please play with you. Senior, please. Senior. I don't want to let you go play. I don't want to let you go play. I don't want to see you this year.
11 students participated in the beauty contest, with a winner expected to be crowned by the officials. The event will continue on the 12th of July 2024. Matthew Ikulono, Benuetv Television News, Makurdi.
Well, now moving to the national scene, where President Bola Tinubu has expressed disappointment over a generation of 4.5 gigawatts electricity, considering the country's size. Tinubu said this while speaking at the inauguration of the 31-member Presidential Economic Coordination Council in the presidential villa. He highlighted the need for innovative solutions to the country's economic challenges, stressing the importance of public-private partnerships in driving economic reforms. According to him, Nigeria has the challenge of energy security. He emphasized the need for collaboration to improve the oil and gas sector. He stated that there must be an increase in electricity generation and distribution throughout the country. The president stressed that there must also be an increase in the nation's oil production to 2 million barrels per day within the next few months. He expressed his administration's determination to remove all entry barriers to investments in the energy sector while enhancing competitiveness. Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has restated the commitment of President Bola Tinubu's administration to attainment of universal health coverage for every Nigerian, irrespective of social and economic status. Alausa said President Tinubu recognized that a healthy population was essential for the country's socio-economic growth and development. The minister stated this in Ikole, Ekiti, the headquarters of Ikole local government area, during the signing of Memorandum of Understanding between the federal government and Ekiti state government on the upgrading of Ikole Specialist Hospital into Federal Medical Center. Alausa noted that the upgrading of Ikole Specialist Hospital to a federal medical center was a testament to President Tinubu's commitment to ensuring that every Nigerian have access to quality and comprehensive health care. He said the establishment of the new Federal Medical Center was in line with the federal government's agenda to decentralize healthcare delivery, making it more accessible even in remote communities in the country. In his speech, Ekiti State Governor Oyebanji applauded President Tinubu for considering Ekiti State among the 4 states in the country having new Federal Medical Center. He said this signifies a crucial step in addressing the healthcare need of residents of Ikole, Ekiti, and its environs. He further added that the facility would enhance the overall quality of care, leading to better health outcomes for the people, as well as serve as training ground for medical students and health professionals to enhance medical practice. In part 2, after the break, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas says citizens' engagement is the cornerstone of any effective legislature, which is why the 10th House will ensure its entrenchment. We'll bring you this and more after this break. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Benuetv Television News at 7. Well, moving on, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas says citizens' engagement is the cornerstone of any effective legislature, which is why the 10th House will ensure its entrenchment. Abbas said this at the dinner and gala night to mark the end of the House Open Week, which commenced on July 3rd. He said the event demonstrated the vibrancy and strength of the nation's evolving democracy, reaffirming the House's commitment to upholding transparency and accountability. According to him, transparency and accountability makes citizens feel a sense of ownership of governance. While also speaking, Chairman House Committee on Monitoring and Evaluation of Standing and Ad Hoc Committees Obi Agwacha said the event had been a testament to the power of collaboration and shared commitment to democratic ideals. Well, Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, Millie Kyari, noted that the kind of support the Speaker had given to the sustenance of the organization was very impressive. Kyari, who said that Abbas was passionate about the industry, added that the NNPCL was grateful for the support. He described the Speaker as exceptional and different in his ways of doing things. I will now shift our attention to the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, Ebonyi State, that has rehabilitated more portions of the Abakaliki-Enugu Highway. Federal Roads Maintenance Engineer, Ebonyi State Field Office, Akinyemi Uju, stated this in Abakaliki, capital of Ebonyi State. He noted that the agency had to intervene because some portions of the road had become death traps for motorists and other road users. According to him, some of the fixed roads were constructed with concrete. He blamed road failures on human activities, urging people to avoid disposing dirt on drainages, which can cause flood and destroy the roads. He said the agency had discovered that some concrete roads failed from the foundation. He also said that some of the failures are as a result of human activities. Ojo called on motorists and road users to take caution and manage the road well. Meanwhile, troops of the Nigerian Army deployed for a special clearance operation in Sambisa Forest have neutralized 11 Islamic States of West African province terrorists. The Nigerian Army, in a statement on its official X handle, disclosed this on Saturday. It said the feat was achieved in coordinated special clearance operations with a hybrid force on terrorist enclave in Jongo village within Sambisa Forest. It said that the troops targeted the enclave and engaged the terrorists in a fierce gun battle, killing some while others fled in disarray. The army said its troops further conducted exploitation ahead of the enclave, leading to the capture of some arms. Well, according to the post, the arms include 99 rounds of 7.62 by 54 millimeters on the metal link, 19 rounds of 7.62 by 39 millimeters, 3 AK-47 rifle magazines, 2 38 hand grenades, and 2 locally made guns. It said the operation showcases the operational effectiveness of the Nigerian Army in combating terrorism and insecurity in the region. It further noted that the neutralization of ISWAP terrorists and confiscation of their weapons will contribute to enhancing security and stability in the area. The Army added that the operation further demonstrated its commitment to eradicating terrorism and protecting citizens. Well, moving on, the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASOP, has rejected the new Unified Scheme of Service of Polytechnics by the National Board for Technical Education, NBTE, or describing it as further setbacks for practitioners in the industry. The union noted that several provisions in the document fell short of the expected standards, as it earlier observed. The president of ASOP, Shama Banja, said these at the end of the National Executive Council NEC meeting of the union in Abuja, where it gave the federal government 15 days ultimatum beginning from Monday, 8th July 2024, to address the union's concerns regarding the document. Banja urged the NBTE to suspend implementation of the document and address the gray areas identified by ASOP. He said that the NEC, after reviewing the document and its implications, resolved to take steps it deems necessary to protect the interests of its members. Banja particularly highlighted the authorization of the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation as responsible for staff employment in the Polytechnic, saying that this decision contradicts the processes of the institution. The labor leader also condemned the document for promoting what he described as discriminatory practices, favoring university degree holders over higher national diploma HND holders in the country, and noting that such policies set back efforts that have so far been made by the union to bridge that gap. Our British Prime Minister Keir Starmer says he will not continue with the previous Conservative government's policy to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda. This is from the international scene. We'll bring you this and much more after this break. Please stay with us. glad to have you back on Benuetv Television News at 7. Well, now moving on to the international scene where British Prime Minister Keir Starmer says he will not continue with the previous Conservative government's policy to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda. Starmer told his first news conference on Saturday after his Labour Party won in the general election that the Rwanda scheme was dead and buried before it started. He stated that he was not prepared to continue with what he called gimmicks that don't act as a deterrent, describing the plan as a problem that his government was inheriting. Recall that Parliament approved the contentious law in April declaring Rwanda a safe third country, which bypassed an earlier UK Supreme Court ruling that said the scheme was unlawful on human rights grounds. Then Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who promised to stop migrants and asylum seekers arriving on small boats from mainland Europe, had pushed for the policy. Rights activists and critiques of Sunak's government had slammed the plan to deport people to Rwanda rather than handle asylum claims at home as inhumane. They raised concerns about the East African country's own human rights record, saying asylum seekers faced the risk of being sent back to countries where they would be in danger. Tens of thousands of asylum seekers, many fleeing wars and poverty in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, have reached Britain in recent years by crossing the English Channel in small boats and risky journeys organized by people smuggling gangs. Meanwhile, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico has made his first public appearance since being injured in an assassination attempt. Recall that Mr. Fico was shot several times on May 15, 2024, while greeting people outside a cultural center in Handlover, about 180 kilometers from the capital, Bratislava. After holding a meeting there, he was rushed to the hospital to undergo emergency surgery before later being discharged to receive care at home. Fico spoke during a ceremony at Devin Castle in Bratislava to mark Saint Cyril and Methodius Day, a public holiday in Slovakia. Cyril and Methodius were brothers credited with converting Slavic people in the region to Christianity in the 9th century, creating an early version of the Cyrillic alphabet. He used a speech at the commemoration to criticize the supposed expansion of progressive ideologies and the West's stance towards Russia over the war in Ukraine. He said meaningless liberal ideas were spreading like cancer and that there were not enough peace talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the Russian invasion of Ukraine. According to analysts, Mr. Fico, a populist who returned to office last October, is a divisive figure both domestically and within the wider European Union, with calls to end military aid to Ukraine and sanctions on Russia. Well, after courting a deadly trail across the Caribbean, tropical storm Beryl is expected to strengthen as it heads towards United States state of Texas. The storm is expected to hit the coast of Texas on Sunday night, 2 days after it made landfall in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Beryl was downgraded to a tropical storm, but it is expected to again strengthen to a hurricane as it travels over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. While no deaths were reported in Mexico, Beryl killed at least 11 people across the Caribbean after its strong winds and heavy rains lashed Jamaica, Grenada, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines and northern Venezuela. According to the United States-based National Hurricane Center (NHC), as it swept over the region, the storm rapidly grew to a Category 4 hurricane before briefly reaching Category 5 intensity. That made it the fiercest storm ever recorded that early in the Atlantic hurricane, a season a reality scientists say has been fueled by human-caused climate change. NHC senior specialist Jack Bevan said Beryl is expected to make landfall in Texas as a Category 1 hurricane somewhere between the city of Brownsville and north of Corpus Christi. He, however, cautioned that a storm could strengthen further if it stays over water longer than expected. Beryl had caused property damage and power outages across Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The country's top tourist destination. Well, hundreds of tourists were evacuated from hotels along the coast as the storm approached, with the military deploying about 8,000 troops to Tulum with food supplies and 34,000 liters of purified water. Well, that brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, let's take another look at the top stories. The headlines: we saw that Governor Hyacinth Alia has announced formation of Commission of Inquiry to uncover remote causes of insecurity in Sankara area of Benue State. We also saw that federal government has pledged commitment to a universal health coverage. And on the international scene, a new United Kingdom Prime Minister has cancelled plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda. Well, that was Benuetv Television News at 7. Thanks for watching. I am Susan Achin. Good evening.